As a retired woman, figuring out this new transition of your season, do you feel like you're on one big mystery tour? In fact, do you remember the book, What to Expect When You're Expecting? Well, I think the title of this chapter in our lives should be What to Expect When You're Not Really Expecting Much of Anything, or you don't know what to expect. Hi, I'm Amy Freeze, and I am the founder of The Empty Nexter. It's crazy that where we have gone and traveled through other seasons leading up to this, we kind of had some expectation, even though, of course, if you went to college, you kind of didn't know what to expect, but enough people had gone through it that you had an idea. Or getting married, having kids. You always had a lot of resources, a lot of people who were willing to share their experience, talk about what they'd been through, the good, the bad, the ugly. But now in this retirement season, there just aren't a ton of resources. At least I have not found a lot of resources out there. And that is frankly why I created The Empty Nexter, because I didn't have the tools or the people who had gone before me, or the people who had gone before me had a completely different experience than what I experienced as a new retiree. And maybe that's the same for you. Oftentimes people just talk about the joy of being retired. They don't talk about the struggle, the losses and the voids that are experienced. And so that's where The Empty Nexter comes in. That's why I chose to make that my heart's journey, using my common thread of sharing and getting heart to heart and letting other women know that they're not alone, and to encourage them, even when I too still need encouragement on this new mystery tour. But I've been talking to a friend who's also in this same capacity of retirement. In fact, she just sold her home that she raised her children in, and she and her husband are going on a little nomadic tour, and they're not quite sure where they're going to land. In fact, they're not even quite sure where they're going yet. And so I've been telling her, hey, this is kind of fun. This is like the world is your oyster, and you're on this mystery tour. It's kind of where I came up with it when I told her that, because I was looking at it kind of with rose-colored glasses for her, excited for her. Her and her husband are kind of, departing on a journey that they're not quite sure where it's going to lead. But I can bet and be reassured that they are going to have some really eye-opening experiences, both good, great, maybe a little scary, maybe a little uncomfortable. And it's really so much like retirement, but also seems to be this whole midlife season of where we're at. So many new changes and new discoveries to be found. One that was new for me, and maybe you're seasoned at this, or maybe it's knocking on your door, but becoming a mother to a daughter-in-law or a son-in-law. I gained a daughter-in-law this past June, and I kind of went in like, well, of course I had seen other women who had become mother-in-laws, and I was actually very excited and am still excited about it. But you do have this anticipation of, gosh, I hope everything goes well, and I hope, we don't fall into that, I don't fall into that dreaded mother-in-law. So it's navigating and kind of taking some new dance steps and taking some leads from, your new family member on how the interaction is going to work best. And I think it's always communication and just treating that new family member as a person that you want to continue to get to know and, continue to love, because you're not only because they're lovable, but because your child loves them. Your child has chosen them as their life's partner. So we've got almost a year under our belt, and I'm happy to say, and it's been wonderful. But it was something that I didn't quite know what to expect. I kind of had a good idea. I felt pretty positive that things would be really smooth, and thankfully they have been. But now to add to that is becoming a grandmother. Now that is definitely what to expect when I'm not expecting. This is not my baby that's being born. I actually found that to be quite easy and natural. And now it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to be as a grandmother? But it's just keeping my eyes, my ears, and my heart open, having great positive expectation, and knowing that I will be able to maneuver and pivot where I need to, and pick up on clues where I'm needed and not needed, and just setting and communicating the expectations so there are no surprises. I have no idea. All I have heard from grandparents that have gone before me, they have told me, oh my gosh, this is going to be the best thing ever. It's going to be better than having your own kids, which I just find that so hard to believe, but I am trusting them. Can't wait to just be that cozy, comfy spot for my grandchild. But also whether or not you're moving or sticking and staying in your home or renovating like me. I've been out of my home for over a year and a half and living in an entirely new location. And now I'm going to be moving back to the place where I've lived for 20 years and raised my kids. I call it my suburban carpool era. And now I'm going to be going back as a retired woman into a home that was a flurry of activity. Got up every morning, went to work, came back in the evening. And now I'm going to have this home that is really not going to look like the home where I've spent the last 20 years, or 19 if you take out, this year of renovation. So it's a mystery. And my husband and I are just like, well, we'll figure it out. We'll see how we like it. And that's kind of our retirement season, figuring it out and trusting the mystery and kind of having a perspective of looking forward to it. Not quite sure how this is going to go, but we're going to do it and we'll see what happens. And guess what? We can always adapt and change our mind. Now, we're not going to change our mind about the grandchild or our daughter-in-law or son-in-law, but where we land as far as a home, a community, we can always change our minds on that. And just kind of try on different fits that fit you right now. Just because something fit in your former season, it might not mean it's gonna fit in this season. And I think that's with everything. I think that when I first retired, I did kind of panic because it felt so uncomfortable, not having a plan, not having daily goals or things that I needed to accomplish. And that panic kind of propelled me to figure out exactly what's next. When now, after a few years are under my belt, I realize, yes, I am Amy still, with my same wants and likes and dislikes and that same common thread, but the common thread can be used in a different way. I maybe don't have to be as motivated. Maybe you don't have to be as motivated. You don't have to get things done on the dime. And that takes a little getting used to. So it's kind of, as I've said before, kind of embracing the new rhythm, but not, I think dialing it down is great, but I think dialing it down so far and so low to a speed that doesn't even get you excited or feeling positive about your day or about where you're going, what you're doing and what you're focusing on. You don't want to dial it back so far that you fade into the woodwork or just sit on the couch or on the chair day in and day out. It's important to find that speed that works with you within your lifestyle and that connects the common thread from your past and can unravel smoothly, not too tight, not too loose, but just at a nice tension that gives you a daily purpose so that you can be reminded of your life's purpose, living out the way in which God designed you from the get-go, not letting this season cover that up, put blinders on, but keep working towards that comfort level that really gives you purpose and peace, restores some passion, gets you excited about things, helps that mystery become a really beautiful and magical time. Does that make sense? I think we have to work, believe it or not, a little harder to make that happen than maybe we had to in the past when it came a little bit easier because we had to make things happen. Now that we don't have to make things happen, it's easy to coast. But when we coast, that's where we can kind of get lost at sea. And we don't want to be lost at sea. We want to have an eye on where we're going, but also stay open to the thrill of the mystery. So I hope this makes some sort of sense to you. And it really is just a crazy chapter. It is for me. Maybe it is for you. But I think together it can be a lot smoother and a lot more enjoyable. So I sure hope you'll join me back here at the Empty Nester. Please subscribe, please share, and please leave a comment. Until then, be blessed.